Tay stood at the large window, looking at the underground city that had been home to humanity for 2,000 years. Lights shined from tall buildings that reached up to the rocky ceiling. People walked along streets and rode on fast trains. It looked like any city on old Earth, except there was no sky above. Tay turned away from the window and walked to the meeting room where Ji and Han waited for him. Today was important. After 2,000 years of hiding and planning, Earth was ready to wake up. "Are the reports ready?" Tay asked as he sat down at the round table. Ji nodded, her short black hair moving slightly. "Yes, the military is ready. We have ships hidden across the solar system. Our weapons are stronger than anything the Coalition has. We are ready for whatever they do when they find out we are still here." "And the surface?" Tay asked, looking at Han. Han smiled and pushed his glasses up. "The terraforming engines are ready. We can make the surface green again in days, not years. The soil is healthy under the fake wasteland we created. Once we start, Earth will bloom quickly." Tay nodded. He felt the weight of this moment. For 2,000 years, humans had lived underground, letting the aliens who attacked them believe they had won. The Galactic Coalition had tried to wipe out humanity, but they had failed. They thought Earth was dead, its people gone or living as simple survivors on a ruined planet. They were wrong. "Start the engines," Tay said. "It's time to wake up our world." Han pressed buttons on his tablet. Deep under the surface, huge machines turned on. These machines would send life back to the surface, undoing the damage done by the Coalition attack and the fake damage humans had added to fool watching eyes. "Coalition outpost near Jupiter is sending signals," Ji said, looking at her screen. "They see something happening." "Let them look," Tay said. "We're ready for visitors." Up on the surface, the first changes were starting. The dead soil began to change as tiny machines and special plants worked together. In valleys far from watching eyes, green shoots pushed up through dirt. Rivers that had been dry for hundreds of years began to fill with clean water from underground lakes. Tai, Ji, and Han went to the control room to watch what was happening. Big screens showed the surface from hidden cameras. They could see the first trees growing, moving fast like in a time-lapse video. But this was happening in real time. Human technology had grown strong during the quiet years. "Coalition ships are coming," Ji said. 3 small scout ships. How long until they get here?" Tay asked. 2 days, Ji answered. "They're not in a hurry. They think Earth is dead," Tay smiled. "Let's make sure they keep thinking that. Hide the changes in the areas where they will most likely land." Han nodded and gave orders to the terraforming team. The green areas near likely landing spots were covered with dust and fake dead soil. The new rivers were hidden under rocks and dirt. From space, Earth would still look dead. For 2 days, the work continued. Most of Earth was becoming green and alive again, but carefully chosen spots stayed looking dead and ruined. The Coalition would see what humans wanted them to see. In the underground cities, people watched the news with excitement. For many generations, they had lived in hiding, building their strength, improving their technology, and waiting for this moment. Children who had only read about the sun and rain in books would soon feel them on their skin. "The first ships will enter Earth orbit in 1 hour," Ji told Tai as they watched the surface screens. "All the hiding measures are in place. We look like a dead world with a few struggling human survivors." "And our defenses?" Tay asked. "Ready but hidden," Ji said. "The quantum phase shields are working perfectly. If they attack, they'll be surprised." Han joined them, carrying new reports. "The terraforming is 30% complete. We're ahead of schedule. The air is already cleaner than it was before the attack. The plants are working well." Tay nodded, pleased with the progress. "Now we see if our acting skills are as good as our technology. Ji, get the surface team ready. They need to look poor and struggling." Ji left to prepare the humans who would meet the Coalition scouts. These people had trained for years to play the part of survivors barely living on a ruined planet. They wore old clothes with patches and dirt. They lived in simple huts built on the surface. Everything about them would tell the Coalition that humans were weak and no threat. "Do you think they'll believe it?" Han asked Tay when they were alone. Tay looked at the screen showing a Coalition ship entering orbit. "They want to believe it. That's our advantage. They attacked us thinking they ended our civilization. Their pride won't let them see the truth unless we show it to them directly." Han nodded. 2,000 years of waiting. "Sometimes I can't believe we kept the secret for so long." "We had no choice," Tay said. "After the attack, we were too weak to fight back. We needed time to rebuild, to grow stronger than they were, and we needed them to forget about us." On another screen, They watched the coalition ship land in a flat area that looked like dead wasteland. The ship was sleek and silver, showing off the coalition's technology. 6 aliens stepped out, wearing environment suits even though Earth's air was safe to breathe. They looked around at the seemingly dead planet. "They're scanning," G said, returning to the control room. "Han's fake readings are working. They think radiation levels are still high from their attack." "Good," Tay said. "Are our actors in position?" "Yes," G said. "They'll discover the aliens in about 10 minutes, acting scared and surprised." The 3 leaders watched as the scene played out. The surface team, led by a man named Quan, approached the coalition ship carefully, acting afraid and amazed. The aliens spoke to them through translators, asking questions about how humans had survived. Quan and his team gave the answers they had practiced, telling a story of struggle and bare survival, of living in small underground shelters and only recently returning to the surface. The coalition team seemed to believe everything. They took readings, collected samples, and spoke to the humans with the confident attitude of advanced beings talking to primitives. They never suspected that miles below them, billions of humans lived in advanced cities, watching everything through Quan's hidden cameras. "They're offering help," G said, listening to the conversation through earpieces. "Medical supplies and some basic technology. How generous of them after trying to kill us all." "Accept it," Tay told Quan through a hidden communication device. "Act grateful." Quan and his team thanked the aliens with big smiles and bows. The coalition members seemed pleased with themselves for being so kind to the poor surviving humans. "They're going to stay for 2 days," G reported. "They want to study the survivors and see what's left of Earth." "Perfect," Tay said. "The longer they stay, the more information we get from them." For 2 days, the coalition team explored the fake wasteland, never finding the hidden signs of Earth's recovery. They spoke freely around the humans, sharing information about the current state of galactic politics and coalition technology. Every word was recorded and analyzed by humans listening below. When the coalition finally left, promising to return with more help for the poor humans, Tay, G, and Han gathered to discuss what they had learned. "Their technology has improved, but not as much as ours," Han said, looking at the data they had gathered. "They've had peace for too long. They haven't needed to innovate like we have." "Their political situation is interesting," G added. "The coalition isn't as united as it once was. There are disagreements between the member species." Tay nodded, taking in all the information. "We'll continue with the plan. Speed up the terraforming now that they're gone. When they return, we'll be ready for Phase 2. As the coalition ships moved away from Earth, the terraforming engines worked at full power. Forests grew across continents. Oceans became clear and filled with life. The atmosphere cleaned itself of pollution. Earth was coming back to life, more beautiful than before. In the underground cities, preparations began for people to move to the surface. New cities were being built, hidden from space by special shields. Humanity was ready to step into the sunlight again. Tay looked at a real-time image of North America, now covered in forests and clear lakes. 2,000 years of quiet, he said softly. Now we show the galaxy what humanity has become. Outside the solar system, the coalition ships traveled home, carrying news that Earth was still a ruined planet with only a few thousand surviving humans. They had no idea that they had just visited a sleeping giant, one that was now fully awake, and Earth, beautiful and strong once more, continued its silent transformation, preparing for the day when it would reveal its true face to the stars. 6 months had passed since the coalition scouts visited Earth. The surface of the planet had changed greatly in that time. Where there had been fake dead land, now forests and fields grew, lakes and rivers shined in the sunlight. But all of this was hidden from space by special technology that Han had created. Tay stood on a hill, feeling real wind on his face. After living underground his whole life, the open sky still amazed him. Birds flew overhead, their songs filling the air. These birds had been kept safe underground for thousands of years, and now they were back where they belonged. "The coalition ship will arrive tomorrow," G said, walking up to join Ty on the hill. "A bigger one this time. They're bringing what they call humanitarian aid." Tay smiled slightly. "How kind of them. Did you get the new housing ready for our struggling survivors?" "Yes," G replied. "We've built better huts and small farms. It looks like we've made some progress, but are still very primitive. Our actors are ready to play their parts." "And our real progress?" Tay asked. "Hidden," G assured him. The new cities are invisible from space. Our defense systems are fully operational but undetectable. Han's technology is working perfectly. Tay nodded, satisfied. The plan was working well. This second visit from the Coalition would give them more information and more time to prepare for the big reveal. The next day, a large Coalition ship landed in the same area as before. This one was 3 times bigger than the scout ships. It carried supplies, medical teams, and more officials. The main leader was a tall alien named Sun, a high-ranking captain in the Coalition fleet. Quan and his team of actors greeted the Coalition visitors, acting happy but humble. They showed proper amazement at the large ship and the supplies being unloaded. "We are pleased to see you have survived these difficult conditions," Sun said through his translator. "The Coalition brings help to all struggling species." "We thank you greatly," Quan said, bowing his head as he had been instructed. "Your generosity gives us hope." Tay, Ji, and Han watched the meeting through hidden cameras. This time, they had decided to make an appearance themselves, playing the role of leaders of the survivor group. "It's time for us to meet our saviors," Tay said, standing up. "Remember, we are simple people doing our best to survive. We know nothing of advanced technology or galactic politics." The 3 leaders took a small rusted vehicle to the landing site. It bounced and shook on the rough ground, making them look like people who barely had working transportation. When they arrived, Quan introduced them to the Coalition team. "These are our leaders," Quan said. "Tay, Ji, and Han. They have helped us survive since the long dark." Sun looked down at the humans with what seemed to be a mixture of pity and superiority. "I am Captain Sun of the Galactic Coalition. This is Yun, our science officer." Yun was shorter than Sun, with 4 arms and large eyes. She held a scanning device that she pointed at the humans and then at the surrounding area. "Welcome to Earth," Tay said simply. "We have prepared a meal to thank you for your help. It's not much, but we share what we have. That is, kind," Sun said, clearly not excited about eating what he thought was primitive human food. They walked to a large tent where a simple meal had been prepared. The food was actually delicious but made to look plain and unrefined. As they ate, Sun and the other Coalition members talked freely, believing they were speaking to simple survivors who knew nothing of the wider galaxy. "The Coalition has grown to over 300 member worlds now," Sun told Tay proudly. "We bring peace and order to the galaxy." "That sounds wonderful," Tay said, acting impressed. "We know so little of what happens beyond our world." "The Raxus sector has been giving us some trouble lately," Sun said to another Coalition officer, not really caring if the humans overheard. "Their fleet movement suggests they might be planning to break away." Yun was quieter than the others. She kept looking at her scanning device with a confused expression. "Is something wrong?" Han asked her, playing the role of a curious but simple human. "My readings show some inconsistencies," Yun said slowly. "The radiation patterns are not what I would expect after a planetary bombardment." Han looked concerned but confused, as if he didn't understand the science. "Is that bad? Is our home still dangerous to live on?" "No, not dangerous," Yun said. "Just unusual. I will need to take more readings." Han nodded, but internally he was making notes to adjust their fake readings. Yun was smarter than they had expected. After the meal, Sun announced that the Coalition team would stay for a full week to help the humans set up better living areas and teach them some basic farming techniques. Tay thanked him profusely, playing the grateful survivor perfectly. When the 3 human leaders were alone again in their vehicle, driving back to a hidden entrance to the underground city, they discussed what they had learned. "They gave away some useful information," Ji said. "The Raxus sector might be breaking away from the Coalition. That could be helpful for us later." "Yun is suspicious about the radiation readings," Han noted. "I'll need to create better fake data for her." "And Sun is exactly what we expected," Tay added. "Arrogant, believing completely in the Coalition's superiority. He won't look deeper because he doesn't think he needs to." For the next week, the humans played their parts perfectly. They accepted the Coalition's help with fake gratitude. They asked simple questions about the galaxy and acted amazed at the answers. All the while, they gathered information about Coalition technology, politics, and military capabilities. Yun continued to be a problem. She took more readings and asked more questions than the others. One day, she walked far from the camp and found a small area where the terraforming was more advanced than it should have been. Small flowers grew there, too healthy for a supposedly dead world. "These plants," she said to Han, who had followed her, "they should not be growing here. The soil should be too damaged." Han had prepared for this. "We have been putting our waste here," he explained. "Human waste makes good fertilizer. It's something we learned to survive." "Is it wrong?" Yun looked at him, trying to decide if he was telling the truth. Then she nodded slowly. "No, not wrong. Actually quite clever for a primitive technique." Han smiled, relieved that she had accepted the explanation. "We do what we can with what we have." By the end of the week, the coalition team was preparing to leave. They had built better shelters for the survivors, provided medical care, and given them some basic tools. They promised to return in a year to check on their progress. "You have done well to survive here," Sun told Tay during their goodbye meeting. "Perhaps in 100 years or so, humans might be ready to join the galactic community as a minor species." "That would be a great honor," Tay said, bowing his head to hide the flash of anger in his eyes. "We will work hard to be worthy." As the coalition ship took off, Tay, Ji, and Han watched it go from outside their fake primitive village. 100 years, Ji said quietly. "They think we need 100 years to be ready. They'll learn differently soon enough," Tay replied. "How long until we're ready for the next phase?" 3 months, Han said. "The terraforming will be complete by then. All our systems are almost ready." Tay nodded, looking up at the sky where the coalition ship had disappeared. "Then in 3 months we show them what humanity has really become." Back in the real human cities, both underground and now on the surface but hidden by advanced technology, billions of people were going about their lives. They worked in clean, advanced factories. They studied in universities where science had progressed far beyond what the coalition knew. They trained in military facilities, preparing to defend their world if necessary. In one of these facilities, Ji was inspecting the fleet that had been built in secret over the past 2,000 years. Thousands of ships sat in huge underground hangars, ready to take to space when the time came. These ships were far more advanced than anything the coalition had. They used energy systems that coalition scientists had never even imagined. "Are the crews ready?" Ji asked the fleet commander. "Yes, ma'am," the commander answered. "All personnel are trained and prepared. We can deploy the entire fleet within 6 hours of your order." "Good," Ji said, looking at the sleek ships with pride. "It won't be long now." In his office in the main city, Tay received a message from an unexpected source. It was from June, a human who had been living among the coalition for decades, working as a spy. His message was simple but important. Coalition believes reports. Earth considered non-threat. Defense monitoring reduced. Path to Nexus Prime clear. Tay smiled as he read the message. Nexus Prime was the coalition headquarters. June had risen to a high position there, trusted by the coalition leadership. He would be crucial for the next part of their plan. Han entered Tai's office carrying reports on the latest technology developments. "The quantum phase shields are now operating at full capacity," he said. "We can protect the entire planet from any attack. And our new communication system is ready for testing." "Faster than light?" Tay asked. "Yes," Han confirmed. "Instant communication across any distance we've tested so far. The coalition still relies on communication that takes days or weeks between star systems." Tay looked at the reports, then at a large map of the galaxy on his wall. Earth had been quiet for 2,000 years, letting the galaxy forget about them. 3 months passed quickly as Earth completed its transformation. The entire planet was now green and beautiful again. With clean oceans, healthy forests, and thriving wildlife, cities had emerged from underground, their gleaming towers reaching toward the sky. But all of this remained hidden from space by Han's advanced technology. Today was the day everything would change. Tay stood in the Global Command Center, surrounded by screens showing different parts of Earth and space beyond. Ji and Han stood beside him, their faces serious. This was the moment they had worked toward for 2,000 years. "Is June in position?" Tay asked. Ji nodded. "Yes. He's ready to deliver our message directly to High Chancellor Min. His position as senior advisor gives him direct access." "And our fleet?" Tay continued. "All ships are ready for launch," Ji confirmed. "They are in position but still hidden. On your command, they will reveal themselves." "The planetary defense systems are fully operational," Han added. "The quantum phase shields can withstand any attack the coalition might attempt. And our demonstration systems are ready." Tay took a deep breath. "Then it's time. Send the signal to June. Begin the revelation sequence. In the Coalition headquarters on the planet Nexus Prime, June walked confidently through the grand halls. After 20 years of living among aliens, he moved and spoke like them. No one suspected he was human, thanks to subtle cosmetic changes and perfect cultural training. He had risen to become a trusted advisor to High Chancellor Min, the leader of the Galactic Coalition. June entered Min's private office, carrying what looked like a standard report tablet. Min looked up, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he recognized June. "Chancellor, I have an urgent message that requires your immediate attention," June said formally. "What is it?" Min asked, reaching for the tablet. "A message from Earth," June said, his voice changing subtly. Min froze, his outer eyelids opening wide in surprise. "Earth, the human world? What do those survivors want?" "Not survivors, Chancellor," June said, activating the tablet. "Earth." A hologram appeared above the tablet, showing Tay in his formal uniform as Supreme Commander of Earth. "Greetings, High Chancellor Min," Tay said. "I am Supreme Commander Tay of Earth. For 2,000 years, your coalition has believed that humanity was defeated, our civilization destroyed. Today, that illusion ends." Min stared at the hologram, his mouth slightly open in shock. "At this moment," Tay continued, "Earth is deactivating the technology that has hidden our true state from your sensors. I suggest you look at your monitoring systems." Alarms began to sound throughout the Coalition headquarters. On Nexus Prime and across Coalition space, monitoring stations were suddenly detecting massive energy signatures from the Sol system. Earth, which had appeared as a barely habitable wasteland for 2 millennia, was now showing as a thriving, technologically advanced world. "Impossible," Min whispered. On Earth, Tay gave the next command. "Reveal the defense network." Around Earth, thousands of orbital platforms became visible, dropping their cloaking shields. These platforms formed a protective network around the planet, more advanced than anything the Coalition had built. "Reveal the fleet," Tay ordered. Throughout the solar system, massive hangars opened. From Earth's moon, from Mars, from hidden bases in the asteroid belt, ships emerged, thousands of them, ranging from small, fast attack vessels to enormous carriers and dreadnoughts. The Earth fleet dwarfed anything the Coalition had, both in numbers and in apparent technology level. On Nexus Prime, the Coalition military command was in chaos. Alarms blared as sensors detected the sudden appearance of what seemed to be the largest military force in the known galaxy. "What is happening?" Min demanded, turning to June. "The truth, Chancellor," June replied calmly. "Humanity never died. We went quiet, we rebuilt, we advanced, and now after 2,000 years we have returned." Back on Earth, Tay continued with the plan. "Han, proceed with the demonstration." Han nodded and activated a series of commands on his console. Across 3 star systems nearest to Earth, Coalition military bases suddenly lost power, their weapons, their shields, their communication systems, all disabled simultaneously without causing any harm to the people inside. "What did you do?" she asked, impressed even though she had known the plan. "A targeted energy wave," Han explained. "It temporarily disrupts their technology without causing permanent damage. They'll be back online in exactly 1 hour, but they now know we could have destroyed them instead of just giving them a brief blackout." Tay nodded, satisfied with the demonstration. He returned his attention to the communication with Nexus Prime, where Min was receiving reports of the widespread systems failure. "High Chancellor," Tay said, his voice firm but not threatening. "What you are experiencing is not an attack. It is a demonstration. Had we wished to, we could have destroyed those bases rather than merely turning off their power temporarily. But Earth does not seek war or revenge." Min looked at the human with new eyes, fear and calculation visible on his alien face. "Then what does Earth want?" he asked. "Recognition," Tay answered simply. "Humanity will take its place in the galaxy as equals, not as a minor species to be pitied or controlled. We have watched the Coalition for centuries. We know its strengths and weaknesses. We know the growing divisions between member worlds." Min's expression showed that Tay's words had hit their mark. The Coalition had indeed been facing increased tensions between various member species and worlds. "You have 2 choices," Tay continued. "Accept humanity as equals and work with us to build a better galactic society, or continue to see us as enemies and face the consequences of that choice." Are you threatening the coalition? Min asked, his voice hard. I am stating facts, Tay replied calmly. Earth possesses technology beyond what the coalition has achieved. We have the military power to defend ourselves against any threat, but we would rather be friends than enemies. On screens around the command center, Tay could see the reactions across coalition space. Some military leaders were calling for immediate action against Earth. Others, seeing the scale of Earth's revealed power, were urging caution. As a gesture of good faith, Tay said, I invite you, High Chancellor, along with representatives of the coalition's major worlds, to visit Earth. See for yourselves what humanity has become. Then make your decision from a position of knowledge rather than fear. Min was silent for a long moment, clearly weighing his options. Finally, he spoke. I will consult with the Coalition Council. We will consider your invitation. The communication ended and Tay turned to Ji and Han. Phase 3 complete, he said. Now we wait for their response. They'll come, Ji said confidently. They have no choice. They need to see what they're dealing with. Some will want to attack immediately, Han pointed out, before we get any stronger. Let them try, Ji replied. Our defenses can handle anything they throw at us. They won't attack, Tay said. Min is smarter than that. He's seen enough to know they can't win a direct conflict. He'll come to Earth, if only to buy time while they figure out how to respond. Across Earth, humans watched broadcasts of what had happened. For most of them, this was the first time they had seen the full scale of Earth's military power. Streets filled with people celebrating the end of hiding. After 2,000 years of quiet preparation, humanity had finally revealed its true strength to the galaxy. In schools, teachers helped children understand what was happening. These children had grown up knowing that one day Earth would return to the galactic stage. Now they watched history unfold before them. In the Coalition headquarters, Min called an emergency meeting of the High Council. Representatives from the most powerful Coalition worlds gathered, their faces showing various degrees of shock, fear, and anger. This is impossible, said one council member, a tall, thin alien from a world called Vex. How could they have hidden such development from us for 2,000 years? The evidence is undeniable, Min replied, showing them the sensor readings. Earth has not only recovered from our ancestors' attack, it has surpassed many of our worlds in technology and military strength. We should strike now, said Bin, the military commander of the Coalition forces. Before they get stronger or other worlds decide to join them. Strike with what? Asked another council member. Did you not see how easily they disabled our bases? Any attack would be suicide. The debate continued for hours. Meanwhile, June listened and recorded everything, sending reports back to Earth through the new instant communication system that Han had developed. They're divided, June reported to Tai. Some want war, some want peace. Min is trying to find a middle path. And what do you think he'll decide? Tai asked. He'll accept your invitation, June said confidently. He has to see what he's dealing with. And he needs time to prepare, whatever he ultimately decides to do. 2 days later, June's prediction proved correct. Min sent a formal message to Earth, accepting the invitation for a delegation to visit. The delegation would include Min himself, along with representatives from 20 major coalition worlds and military commander Bin. They're sending Bin, Ji noted as they read the list of delegates. He's the one pushing hardest for military action. Good, Tay said. Let him see firsthand what he would be facing. It might change his mind, or make him more determined to stop us before we get stronger, Han pointed. The coalition delegation stepped out of their transport vehicles and gazed at New Seoul in amazement. The city stretched before them, a marvel of human architecture and engineering. Towers of glass and strange metals reached toward the sky, connected by gardens that grew up the sides of buildings. Clean transport pods moved silently along elevated tracks. The air was fresh and clean, unlike the polluted atmospheres of many coalition worlds. This is unexpected, High Chancellor Min said, struggling to maintain his composure. What did you expect, Chancellor? Tay asked politely. Not this, Min admitted. Our report suggested your species was barely surviving. Those reports were based on what we wanted you to see, Tay explained as they walked toward the grand meeting hall. For 2,000 years, we showed the galaxy a false face while we rebuilt. Military Commander Bin was scanning everything with a small device, his face tight with concentration. G noticed and moved closer to him. "Looking for something, Commander?" she asked. Ben quickly put the device away. "Just curious about your construction methods," he lied. G smiled. "Of course. We'll have plenty of time for technical discussions later." Inside the meeting hall, the delegation was seated at a large circular table. Earth representatives sat alternating with coalition members, a deliberate arrangement to prevent the visitors from sitting as a single block. "Before we begin formal talks," Tay said, "we would like to show you what Earth has become. A tour has been arranged for tomorrow. Tonight, please enjoy a meal prepared with food from our world." Servers brought in dishes made with Earth's finest ingredients. The coalition members were hesitant at first, but most soon discovered that human food was quite delicious. As they ate, conversation gradually became less formal. Song, the moderate diplomat, spoke directly to Han. "Your environmental restoration is remarkable. How did you achieve so much in such a short time?" "It wasn't short from our perspective," Han replied. "The terraforming technology took centuries to perfect. But once ready, it works quickly. Nature does most of the work once we correct the soil and atmospheric conditions." "Could such technology help other worlds?" Song asked, genuine interest in her voice. "Potentially," Han said. "Many coalition worlds suffer from industrial pollution, I believe." Song nodded. "Yes, my world included." At the other end of the table, Min was questioning Tay about Earth's population. "Our sensors detected approximately 8 billion humans," Min said. "Is that accurate?" "More or less," Tay answered, not mentioning the additional 3 billion humans living in settlements throughout the solar system. "Still hidden from coalition detection. And all these people lived underground for 2,000 years?" Min asked, sounding doubtful. "Not all underground," Tay explained. "We maintained small surface colonies in remote areas hidden from observation. But yes, most of our population lived in underground cities until recently." Min shook his head slightly. "A remarkable feat of social engineering as well as technical achievement. How did you prevent rebellion or societal collapse during such a long isolation?" "Purpose," Tay said simply. "Every human knew why we were hiding, what we were building toward. It gave meaning to the sacrifices." Bin, who had been quiet during most of the meal, suddenly spoke up. "And what exactly were you building toward, Supreme Commander? What is Earth's ultimate goal now that you've revealed yourselves?" The table fell silent, all eyes turning to Tay. He met Bin's gaze calmly. "Our goal is simple, Commander. Security and recognition. Humanity will never again be vulnerable to extinction, and we will take our rightful place among the stars as equals, not as a subject species." "No one is suggesting you would be subjects," Min said quickly. "Aren't you?" G challenged. "Captain Sun told our surface team that perhaps in 100 years humans might be ready to join the galactic community as a minor species. Those were his exact words." Min looked uncomfortable. Captain Sun was not speaking official coalition policy, but he was speaking coalition attitude, Tay countered. "That is what we seek to change." The dinner continued with careful conversation. The coalition delegates were clearly trying to assess Earth's strength and intentions without revealing too much of their own thinking. After the meal, as the visitors were shown to their accommodations, Song approached Han again. "I believe there is much our worlds could learn from each other," she said quietly. "Not all in the coalition share the old prejudices against Earth." Han nodded. "We've studied the coalition carefully. We know who our potential friends are." The next morning, the tour of Earth began. The delegation was shown the restored natural areas first. They saw forests that had been regrown, lakes and rivers cleaned of pollution, and wildlife that had been preserved and reintroduced to their natural habitats. "All these animals survived?" asked a delegate from a world called Tarn. "We maintained genetic diversity in protected habitats," Han explained. "Nature is resilient when given the chance to recover." Next, they were shown the manufacturing centers where Earth produced its technology. Clean, advanced factories where robots worked alongside humans to create everything from daily goods to advanced spacecraft components. "No pollution?" Min asked, noting the absence of waste products. "Our production is circular," Han explained. "All materials are either biodegradable or fully recyclable. Nothing is wasted." Bin paid particular attention to the military facilities they were shown. These were carefully selected to demonstrate Earth's strength without revealing all their capabilities. "Your weapons technology is impressive," Bin admitted after seeing a demonstration of Earth's defensive systems. What you're seeing is already 10 years old, G told him casually. Our current systems are considerably more advanced. Bin's expression darkened at this information. While the main tour continued, Min requested a private meeting with Tay. They walked in a garden atop one of New Seoul's tallest buildings, with a view stretching to the distant mountains. You've achieved something remarkable here, Min said, looking out at the city. I won't deny that. Thank you, Tay replied. But you must understand the concern your sudden appearance causes, Min continued. The power you've revealed threatens the balance that has kept peace in the galaxy for centuries. A balance built on the assumed destruction of my world, Tay pointed out. That was never a stable foundation, Min sighed. Perhaps not, but now we must find a new balance. What exactly does Earth want from the Coalition? Recognition as equals, Tay said immediately. Trade agreements that don't favor Coalition worlds over Earth. Security guarantees that no Coalition member will ever again attempt what was done to us 2,000 years ago. And in return? Min asked. We share certain technologies, Tay offered. Environmental restoration, clean energy, medical advances. Not weapons, but technology that improves lives. Min nodded slowly. A reasonable starting position for negotiations. There's one more thing, Tay added. The Coalition will acknowledge publicly what was done to Earth. The attack will not be erased from history or justified as necessary. Min's expression hardened. That would be difficult politically. Nevertheless, it is essential, Tay insisted. Justice requires truth. Their private discussion was interrupted by an urgent message for G. She approached Tay quickly, her expression serious. Commander Bin has been detected attempting to access restricted systems, she reported. He placed small devices at 3 different locations that are trying to break through our security. Min looked shocked. I assure you, if this is true, he was not acting under my orders. We believe you, Chancellor, Tay said, but we will need to confront him about this. When the tour group returned to the meeting hall, G presented evidence of Bin's sabotage attempts. The small devices he had placed were displayed on the central table, along with recordings of him placing them. Explain yourself, Commander, Min demanded, clearly angry that Bin had jeopardized the diplomatic mission. Bin stood tall, unapologetic. I was gathering security information, as is my duty. Earth presents an unknown threat level that must be assessed. By planting devices that attempted to disable our defensive grid? G asked coldly. Bin did not answer directly. Instead, he looked at Min. Chancellor, we cannot trust these humans. They hid their development for 2,000 years. What else are they hiding? We should return to Nexus Prime immediately and prepare appropriate responses. Several other delegates nodded in agreement, while others looked uncomfortable. Commander Bin, Tay said calmly, your devices were detected within seconds of placement. They never had any chance of success. We showed you exactly what we wanted you to see. No more and no less. If we had hostile intentions, why would we reveal ourselves at all? We could have continued building our strength in secret. Song spoke up then. I believe Earth is sincere in wanting peace. The technologies they've offered to share could help billions across the galaxy. Or they could be laying a trap, Bin countered, lulling us into complacency before striking. The meeting hall erupted into argument with Coalition delegates taking sides. Min finally raised his hands for silence. Enough, he said firmly. Commander Bin, your actions were unauthorized and have damaged our diplomatic position. You will return to the ship and remain there for the duration of our visit. Bin looked like he wanted to object, but instead gave a stiff bow and left the hall, escorted by Coalition. 3 years had passed since Earth revealed itself to the galaxy. In that time, much had changed. Ty stood on the observation deck of the massive space station that orbited Earth, watching ships come and go. Vessels from 20 different worlds now regularly visited Earth for trade and diplomatic missions. The isolation that had defined humanity for 2,000 years was truly over. The representatives from Tarn have arrived, G said, joining Ty at the window. Her uniform now carried additional medals and insignia, marking her role as Admiral of Earth's peacekeeping fleet. Good, Tay nodded. And the Vex delegation? Still claiming they need more time to consider our proposal, G replied. But we know the real reason for the delay. Their hardliners don't want to break from the Coalition completely. Tay smiled slightly. They'll join us eventually. The benefits are too great to ignore forever. In the 3 years since Earth's return, the galaxy had undergone a significant shift in power. The coalition, once unchallenged in its authority, had fractured. Many worlds, impressed by Earth's technology and attracted by its more equal approach to interspecies relations, had broken away to form new alliances with humanity. Han entered the observation deck carrying reports on his tablet. He now served as Earth's technology commissioner, overseeing the careful sharing of human advances with allied worlds. The medical technology transfer to Song's world is complete, Han reported. Their doctors have already begun treatments for diseases that have plagued their people for centuries. And the defensive systems? Tay asked. Installed and operational on all 14 allied worlds, Han confirmed. They can now protect themselves from coalition reprisals. This had been a key part of Earth's strategy. By offering defensive technology rather than weapons, they protected their allies while maintaining the moral high ground. These defensive systems used the same quantum phase shield technology that protected Earth, making allied worlds virtually immune to conventional attacks. Any word from Jun? Tay asked. Ji nodded. He reports increasing tension within the remaining coalition. Min is losing influence to the military faction led by Bin, who has been promoted to High Commander. Not surprising, Tay said. Min's moderate approach has been painted as weakness by those who see us as a threat rather than an opportunity. A chime sounded, indicating an incoming priority communication. The 3 leaders moved to the communication station where a hologram appeared showing Song. She now served as ambassador for her world, and several others that had allied with Earth. Supreme Commander, Song greeted Tay formally. I bring important news. Jun and the representatives of 20 worlds formerly of the coalition have arrived at the rendezvous point. They are ready for the formal joining ceremony. Excellent, Tay replied. We will meet them there. Has there been any coalition interference? None detected, Song said. But our sensors show increased military activity near the Cygnus border. They may be planning something. We'll be ready, Ji assured her. The peacekeeping fleet is on alert. After the communication ended, Tai, Ji, and Han prepared to depart for the ceremony. This would be a historic moment. The official formation of the new galactic cooperative with Earth and 30 other worlds as founding members. Not an empire or a coalition ruled by the strongest, but a true partnership of equals. Their ship, the New Dawn, was Earth's most advanced diplomatic vessel. As they departed Earth orbit, Tay looked back at the blue-green planet that had endured so much. Surface cities now covered much of the land, their designs harmonizing with the natural environment rather than dominating it. Orbital platforms and defense stations formed a protective network around the planet. Earth was beautiful, strong, and safe. Incoming communication from Monitoring Outpost 7, the ship's communication officer reported. Display it, Ji ordered. A holographic screen showed a young officer with a concerned expression. Admiral, we've detected a coalition battle group entering the Tau Ceti system. 27 ships including 3 dreadnoughts. They appear to be on an intercept course with the ceremony location. Ji's expression hardened. Time to intercept? 6 hours, Admiral. After the ceremony begins. They're trying to disrupt the founding of the cooperative, Han said. Bin must be desperate to prevent more worlds from joining us. Or he's using this as an excuse to finally start the war he's been pushing for, Tay suggested. Either way, we need to respond. I'll take half the peacekeeping fleet to intercept them, Ji said. We can delay them until the ceremony is complete. No, Tay decided after a moment's thought. We'll continue as planned. Alert the defense fleet but have them maintain position. Let's see what Bin actually does when he arrives. You think he's bluffing? Ji asked. I think he's testing us, Tay replied. He wants to see how we respond to provocation. If we meet force with force, he can claim we're the aggressors. If we do nothing, he can claim we're weak. So what's our third option? Han asked. Tay smiled. We show him something he doesn't expect. The New Dawn continued to the rendezvous point, a space station in neutral territory where representatives from the 30 worlds had gathered. Jun, once a mid-level coalition official and now leader of the largest group of worlds breaking away, greeted them upon arrival. Supreme Commander Tay, Jun said, bowing slightly. We were concerned when we heard about the coalition battle group. There's no need for concern, Tay assured him. The ceremony will proceed as planned. The great hall of the station had been prepared for the historic event. Representatives from all 31 worlds, Earth and its 30 allies, sat at a circular table with no head, symbolizing their equal status. Observers from 15 other worlds considering joining the cooperative watched from a gallery above. As the ceremony began, Tay addressed the gathering. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history. For too long, relations between worlds have been based on power and domination. The Galactic Cooperative offers a different path, one of mutual respect, shared prosperity, and collective security. Jun spoke next. My world suffered for centuries under coalition rule. We were valued only for our resources, our people treated as second-class citizens. In the cooperative, all worlds stand as equals, all peoples respected for their unique contributions. One by one, representatives signed the founding charter. As the ceremony neared its conclusion, a station officer hurried in and whispered to G. She nodded and moved to Tai's side. The coalition battle group has arrived, she whispered. They're demanding we surrender Jun and the other traitors to coalition authority. Tai nodded calmly and returned his attention to the gathering. The signing is complete. The Galactic Cooperative is now officially formed. Applause filled the hall, but many looked nervous, aware of the threat looming outside. There is one more matter to address, Tai continued. A coalition battle group has just arrived, demanding that several of you be surrendered to them as traitors. I want to assure you that this will not happen. No member of the cooperative will be forced to return to coalition control. Murmurs of concern spread through the hall. What will you do? John asked. We didn't join the cooperative to start a war. There will be no war today, Tai promised. He turned to Han. Show them our response. Han activated a control on his tablet. Outside the station, seemingly from empty space, a massive Earth fleet suddenly appeared. Over 500 ships, far outnumbering the coalition force, had been waiting in hidden positions, cloaked by advanced technology. But instead of moving to attack position, the Earth ships formed a protective sphere around the station, their weapon systems visibly powered down. On the command ship of the coalition battle group, High Commander Bin stared at the sensor readings in shock. Impossible, he whispered. Where did they come from? Why didn't we detect them? A communication officer approached nervously. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Supreme Commander Tai. Bin's jaw tightened. Display it. Tai's image appeared on the main screen. High Commander Bin, the Galactic Cooperative welcomes you as an observer to our founding ceremony. However, your demand for the surrender of our members is rejected. These worlds have freely chosen to join our alliance. Their decision will be respected. Those worlds are coalition territory, Bin replied angrily. Their leaders are in violation of coalition law. Not anymore, Tai said calmly. They have withdrawn from the coalition legally, as is their right. Any attempt to force their return will be considered an act of war. Bin looked at the tactical display showing the overwhelming Earth force surrounding his ships. His expression was a mixture of rage and frustration. This isn't over, Tai. It could be, Tai offered. The cooperative is open to all worlds, including those still in the coalition. We offer a different vision of galactic society, one built on cooperation rather than control. Pretty words to hide your true goal, Bin spat. Earth seeks to replace the coalition as the dominant power. Tai shook his head. If that were true, we would have attacked long ago. Our ships could have destroyed your battle group the moment you arrived. Instead, they stand with weapons powered down. We seek peace, Commander. The choice for war is yours alone. For a tense moment, everyone waited for Bin's response. Finally, he gave a curt nod. We will withdraw. But the coalition will not recognize this cooperative or any treaties it makes.